Hunger is a choice we make as a society. There's no reason with the amount of food that we grow that people should be hungry or sick from food. Food deserts usually are places where it is not easy to get whole, healthy foods. You could maybe get a potato, an onion, things that have long shelf lives in a food desert, but getting greens, getting leafy greens, getting lettuces, getting tomatoes, getting things that are nutrient dense or were picked recently is not an easy thing. You have to walk far distances to get to them. You have to pay more than your budget can afford to get them. And most likely, if you have to feed yourself and your kids, you're not going to spend your whole budget on healthy food. You don't have to give up. We could be example for other communities, other people who find themselves born into situations that are not ideal. My name is Doria Robinson. I'm the executive director here at Urban Tilth. We are a nonprofit run by local Richmond residents. Here in Richmond, California, we run 6 different school and community gardens, 1 farm, 2 CSAs serving roughly 500 families a week. And most important part of that is that we do that by hiring and training local residents to basically be the change makers, transforming the food systems for ourselves, for our families, for our community. Really giving folks the skills that they need to not only grow food and get it to people, to understand why we need to do that and what larger causes in our society, larger designs are at play that we need to resist or transform so that we can actually move towards real liberation, using food as our way to get there. We focus on really growing food that makes it to meet people's plates, to incorporating local agriculture, because we think that it's not just getting healthy food to people, but it's also getting people to soil and to land and to reconnect with nature. And then the food system, because it's the system that's broken. People are not exposed to, not in the habit of, not able to access healthy foods. We take vacant public land and transform it back to living spaces that can actually grow the healthy whole food that other people don't want to bring to this community because we don't click their boxes. This lot in particular at the North Richmond farm, it was just a vacant lot, 40 years. So when we found it, it was just full of refuse. We spent about 4 years just cleaning the site. Another 1.5 to 2 years building the soil back to living soil. We grow a lot of greens here right now. We have cabbage and onions, collard greens and mustard greens, because it's just a big cultural food here. Everyone in the Farm to Table CSA gets the same box contents, but some people choose to do a pay it forward box, which is $30 a week. And that makes it possible, if we get 3 members who sign up at that level, we can offer a $10 box to a low-income family. We have islands now of sanctuary, like these gardens where you go and there's community here. Richmond is kind of a classic kind of inner city community. You can find them all across the nation. There's places like Richmond in San Francisco, in Detroit, in Chicago, in New Jersey, in this kind of post-industrial town where you have urban environment with very low income majority minority community that maybe at one point in time they came there because there were jobs, but those jobs fell through because industrial capitalism crashed, right? We don't manufacture things here anymore. The jobs that people had got automated. Things have changed, and the people who came to try to improve their lives in those kind of industrial zones now they find themselves adrift in post-industrial America. So here in Richmond, we're a company town, we're a Chevron town. 5 blocks from where I grew up is Chevron refinery. We refine most of the oil for all the airports. The state of California comes from our refinery. And not only is it this refinery, but it's a series of 5 refineries that are all in a little ribbon all through low-income communities right here in the East Bay. With that, you get just tons of underdevelopment and kind of white flight and the redlining and all that kind of layered on top of a landscape. It's kind of like the love of my life. It's also like a lot of heartbreak, a lot of loss.
Tonight, the violence has escalated.
Ongoing gang wars here.
So we're responding to a shooting. Somebody's shot.
Richmond is one of the most dangerous cities in the country.
I grew up here during the 80s. It was kind of the height of the crack epidemic. My block, my neighborhood, my friends were just deeply involved in drug trade, gangs, and whatnot. Growing up here, you hold the memory of the whole people, and you know that's how we all should be. And you know that there were a lot of external conditions pushing people into these stereotypes. You know, when we were little, all of us kids played together. By the time we became teenagers, they were each killed. Every single kid I grew up with on that block is dead. Some of them I was around for. It's just hard. There was no way to change it except for to leave. My grandfather was a minister in the church and brought a bunch of people up from the south. When they got here, they collectively bought a 350-acre ranch. So it's not totally true that my whole world was just the pavement, just the harshness, just the hard and the heartache. It was also this other space where there's growing vegetables and getting eggs from the chickens. I just started to realize that everything I loved about the ranch was actually under my feet all the time. In Richmond, it's just covered up. Nature is everywhere, and there's a lot of things that heal you in nature. And sometimes we just got to break up the concrete. So we're at the Greenway Community Gardens at 6th Street. Right before we got here, it was just the bike trail that you were on with just weedy patches on either side. And in the raised beds, we have seasonal vegetables, and we just planted a new 17 fruit tree orchard on this side. 2 blocks of growing food. It really made visible how food insecure people were. This moment has made food so important. Last week alone in Richmond, there was 84 people who died from COVID. And it's like that every week. It does matter if you give people calories or nutrients. So if something rolls through like a virus, it just has made it so clear how important what we're doing is. We can't unsee the impact of food swamps, food deserts on our people. We can't unconnect that cause from that death toll. When I look around and I see all that we're able to do just in 16 years, that if it could inspire other people to do what we're doing, that the depth and breadth of the transformation could be astounding. No matter how many struggles we have, no matter how difficult it is, it never fails when we're out here for people to walk by and say thank you. You can make something beautiful for people. You can make something healthy for people. It might not be easy, but it's worthwhile.